Hey, what's up, guys? Jake here with another episode of On the Rise Music Podcast. Today, we are honored to have special guest, DJ, guitarist, and artist Mark Sexton of the Sextones. How's it going, man? Love your music.
Hey, it's going great. Thanks for having me.
Of course,
Appreciate it.
yeah. We're a huge fan of the. I mean, you are. I read your bio and everything, listened to your music and everything, and I'm a huge fan of the whole Steely Dan vibe of the whole Stevie
Oh, thanks.
vibe. Like, to be honest with you, I love music like that. I love classic just classic rock, folk rock, stuff from the 60s, 70s. Like that, honestly, in my opinion, that's the best era of music. So
Oh,
it's
for
really
sure.
cool seeing you doing exactly that and being inspired by exactly that, and doing it now though, because a lot of bands that do that, and a lot of people that want to do that, they're not inspired. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Yeah.
so building off of that, what made you want to make music from or similar to music from that era?
Um, I think the I've been asked this question a few times, and it's always hard to with the best answer, but always been drawn to it, and I think I can attribute it to just the music I grew up listening to. My parents were always playing really good music from the late 60s, early 70s. My dad's from Chicago,
Oh,
and he
okay.
was really into like the blues and roll. It's kind of the more like edgy late 60s stuff.
Mm.
Uh, and then my mom is more of Southern California, like flowers there, kind of like,
Fleetwood
70s
Mac, yeah.
era. Yeah, exactly. That kind of thing. So a lot of that singer-songwriter stuff. And I mean, up in the house, it was always an eclectic mix of like Stevie Wonder, and then we'd listen to like Count Basie and Frank Sinatra
Hmm.
and a lot of New Orleans music. I remember listening to Alan Toussaint and Harry Connick Jr. at a really age.
Okay.
So it's a little mixed bag. And yeah, I don't know. Now, I think everyone kind of grows up and they hit like their early teen years. I don't want to listen to what my parents listen to, and they're like, that's not hip. That's not what my friends are listening to. And then you kind of divert and go into like kind of the pop music
Hmm.
of the day. I just remember that like the moment that I was like a kid and all the kids around me were like, what are you listening to, man? Oldies. This is like
Yeah.
it was what I it was like what I thought was new music in a way. I was like, this is on the radio because I was always listening to station. I didn't even know it. And they're like, what are you doing? No, you gotta listen to Ja Rule, man, or whatever it was. And I'm like, oh, okay. And so I started like from the music that I grew up listening, went into that whole pop music, and then you hit your early 20s and you're like, or maybe even, and you're like, oh shit, mom and dad were right, like their music was good, you know
Definitely.
so that's just, I think, the round that I've just been influenced by all this music. And I think my parents introduced it to me, but rediscovered it on my own in a deeper way, where it was like, okay, I've heard all these Stevie albums before, but then actually like dig deeper into his catalog and listen to like Music of My Mind, which is one of my favorite Stevie Wonder albums, and like listen to it from back to front. And just like,
Hmm.
I remember in college, I just worshipped that album because he played every instrument. And yeah, so just some of the like, I can nerd out about this, but
Oh,
beyond just the
definitely.
music, but the whole production method, you didn't have to be like a pop famous, like you just had to be good, and you had to
Exactly.
be really and had to be good enough to go into the studio and like nail a couple takes and be able to play what you play. What you do wasn't a one trick pony. It was like you could do that exactly live and it would sound just as good. And I've just always been attracted to music like that.
Hmm. Yeah, that was really interesting. That point that you made. That like when you were younger, you were listening to all this old music, and everyone was like, what the hell are you listening to, man? Like they shouldn't be listening to. I went through the same exact thing, although I'm not like
Did
making.
you?
Yeah, it was really funny. It was one day I was like a sophomore in high school, and it was right before a baseball game, and I don't know what compelled me to listen to the Eagles. Like what compelled me to listen to Plain Eyes, and I started listening to it, and I started listening more and more because my dad would listen to the Bridge on Sirius XM. He would always play um yeah, he'd always just play older music, like going to football games when we were younger. He'd play Bob Marley and the Wailers. He'd
Yeah.
play the Eagles. He would play Fleetwood Mac, and it was just like growing up. It's like, yeah, it's good. And that was about one moment where I was like, oh wow, this is good. And like I used to get made fun of in high school. People are like, why the hell are you listening to this stuff? I was like, dude, it's good. Like I don't think you guys understand the music that we listen to today was inspired by this music, and this music is so authentic and just so raw. But at the
Totally.
same time, it was like a collective movement, but it doesn't feel that way. And it's just, yeah. So yeah, for you to pick that up and continue making music like that.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't have that positive influence like what you're talking about, or your dad, and like I think a lot of the kids that would ridicule, someone for not listening to top of the moment, people that didn't really have that positive influence of like
Mhm.
life that was older, showing them what real music is. You know what I
Right,
mean?
definitely.
I feel like that's how a lot of shitty music gets popular. you know, it's like someone doesn't, these people just listen to what they're told is supposed to be that are popular or poppy. I mean, I'm not against pop music. I love a lot of pop
Oh,
music and
definitely.
current pop music, but I also think that some of this I listen to, like I like to check in like on
Uh-huh.
what's going on. I'll listen to like top 40 stations, just have gauge of what's in the world. And sometimes I hear some songs and I'm like, yeah, this is cool. I can tell where they're coming from. I can hear the influences, like you're
Mhm.
saying, of like there's like this. I could totally they were listening to the Police or whatever that it was, and then some music comes on and I'm just like, how the hell is this popular? Like there's not even, I can't even tell like what the hook is. There's like, it's just not that strong of melody. It's just not, I maybe I need to, maybe there's something missing that why I don't understand why it's good, but I have a
Yeah,
lot of musical training and musical knowledge, and I like to dissect why something is good or
definitely.
why it's popular, and pop music is great for that because you get to like kind of, people like to say it's formulaic, and to an extent that's true, but it's like writing a simple pop song is super hard
Oh,
because
definitely.
you have to find a way to go like cliches and still
Mhm.
sound fresh and do something simple but not boring.
Exactly.
So a well-written pop song is this amazing feat of balancing all these different things with like something that sounds fresh in the end.
Oh, I totally agree. And I understand that you don't only play in a band, but you're also a DJ. So
Hmm.
I'm sure you're looking at the pop songs and everything to like put on for the because people love pop music. Like if you're gonna throw on like one top 40, people are gonna lose their mind, and
Oh yeah.
then you can just go back and playing like the music that you like were feeling, and then you throw another pop 40 or top 40, and everyone starts losing their mind.
Yeah, I always try to find the balance between being playing music that I like. When I'm DJing, I'm like, it's kind of a sell for me because I'm like,
Mhm.
I'm just gonna play. Like, I book gigs for myself to DJ where I know I'm not gonna pressured by the audience to play too much pop stuff. And I like play at places where I know I'm not gonna get like a lot of requests, and they're coming to see me do my thing. That
Mhm.
said, it it's fun to like drop a couple things in there like that people are familiar with, um, without going too far into them, because like you kind of said, like once you drop some really current like car song or something, you're going to be just getting that request for that all night long. Like, yeah, as a DJ I have to like kind of find, maybe it's like me or whatever, but I know the role of a DJ is to like bring the party to the people and vibe, but I want people to come away in my DJ sets thinking like, whoa, I just Shazammed a bunch of songs to go check out later. Like that's my goal. Is like for people to be like discovering new music, almost like a radio station back in the day would be like, what is this? I gotta find out what this is. Like, and then if I do play something that's familiar, I like to play like a weird version of it, or a take of a song. Like I just did a DJ set recently, and I played on I'm Every Woman, which is like a total disco, everybody knows it, but I played the version that was keyboards and a cappella, and just hear it in like a new way, where it's like people are like, I know this song, but something different. This is a weird version, So yeah, I mean, being a DJ is kind of new to me, but I'm learning all these things about it. I've been doing it for like a year and a half now, seriously. And I'm trying to put myself in a position where when people ask me to play at a club or play a private event or like a wedding or anything, they're booking me because they know what I already do.
Definitely.
Not booking me to be like a jukebox,
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with that. Now, I understand you were on tour in Europe when you really started picking up DJing. Now, how did that tour come about? Because that's pretty crazy that you went overseas and you guys started playing.
Yeah, we did. We've done it now, and it was always kind of like a dream, like of mine. I was like, man, it would, when I was in high school, I was daydreaming being on tour with my band in Europe, and we finally pulled some strings with some other bands that we know that have gone over there, and it was so much easier than I thought it was going to be. Like it's easier to we've done 2 tours over there now, and they've both unbelievably easy compared to doing a national tour in the United States, as far as like covering your bases, like food, like the venues generally provide those things with them. Like backline, a lot of the clubs already have like drums and bass amps, so you just go up and play. And also, and last but not least, I feel like in the States we maybe don't appreciate or emphasize our own music as much as they do over there.
Definitely,
so like
I can see that.
Over here, there could be like the most badass band ever playing in this club, but like really in there to check them out. I don't know, maybe there's something else going on down the street, but there's in Europe, it's like they romanticize culture, and to them, like American music, soul, jazz, blues, R&B, it's like, well, I'm gonna go get a piece of this, check it out. And then like over here, I see we kind of romanticize European culture. We're like always trying to copy their architecture, and we've got like all this cuisine that's we've got French cuisine, and we've got this, like all these knickknacks and our clothes, we're trying to look European, and it's just funny because they're trying to be us and we're trying to be them a lot of the time. We've got like Wes Anderson movies, and it's just funny to me. And it was over there the first time we played at this venue in Germany called Altes Spital, which was like this old hospital. And it was in Bavaria, so it was in like Bavarian Forest, which is South Germany. And the guy that owned this club was like the coolest dude like I've ever met. His name is Ollie Zilk, and he's like a German Giles Peterson. Like he's just this like super, like, he would probably laugh if he heard me. He was a kind of like a music aficionado, like old. He's probably in his like early or late 40s, and he's been DJ in the in Germany, and then he went to the UK for a while, and he like knew he's like so, he just represents like the purest form of like vinyl DJ culture.
Oh, okay, that's
And
what's up.
yeah, to like hang out with him and be in his house where he's just got like, he's got these vintage turntables that are like these, like they look like something you'd see in like a old gym from the 70s. They're like these like red tables, and it's like traditionally we see like two
Yeah.
Technics and a mixer. Well, this
Uh-huh.
was like two turntables built into the same unit that was like red, like a red tabletop, and it has like a mixer, and it was like from like the 70s,
Wow.
late 70s, and he has like 20 of them. They're like the coolest like antique DJ setups you've ever seen, and he's got records laying all over his house, and he has like bands playing at his club, but also after the bands he always has like top-notch DJs playing, and it's very like kind of vinyl spirited. The music that they play in the bar is like always a record, and he'll be bartending, and then like the record will end and he'll be like, shit, like go over, put another song on, and then like, wait, what do you want another drink? And just being over there was like, oh, I gotta do this when I get home. I already collect records. I already love just playing record player. Why don't I just like do it for real and get another a turntable set up and just start doing it? So that's what inspired me to like start really shopping for records that I would want to spin, and looking, and it made our tours like way more fun, because we'd be stopping in whatever city, whether it be in the States or in Europe, and we'd be like, okay, we've got 2 hours, like let's go find the record store, let's dig and find some cool 45s or whatever, and just makes it more fun. It's kind of the moment I fell in love with DJing was that spot and that guy Ollie at Alta Spital.
Like being able to witness something as like iconic and historic as what you said, like the turntables and everything, I would have been totally inspired too. Like that's seeing where it came from in the beginning and knowing how, like where it is today. Yeah, dude, that's crazy. Are you familiar with the show on Netflix, the Get Down, talking about the creation of hip hop and the creation of like DJing and DJ battles and turntables?
No, I got to write that down though. The Get Down.
Yeah, it's a Boz Lerman show. It's
oh, okay.
It's really it was done really well. I don't know why they canceled it after 2 seasons.
Really, my wife is like a Boz Lerman huge fan, so I'm gonna have to write that down.
It's really interesting because they definitely they show the creation of hip hop and mixing and like b-boys and DJ battles, and it literally is what you're talking about. And I mean, watching that show, I was inspired by what they were doing, and I was like, I wish I had the opportunity to be there and see how they're doing it. So I can only imagine how you must have felt seeing it now, and this guy who's basically been doing it since it started.
Yeah,
it's been just like the coolest thing ever.
Well, okay, so here's another thing that kind of may have added to the match. I'm from Reno, and we have like this time of year where everyone goes to one of the biggest parties in the world. I guess you would call it one of the biggest parties in the world, Burning Man. You've probably heard of Burning Man, right? So Burning Man's really close. So once a year, like all these people flood the town and buy everything in the grocery store, and Burning Man's going on. So growing up here, my idea of like being a DJ was what a Burning Man DJ. It wasn't like, I wasn't really thinking about like hip hop turntablism, or I was just thinking about like dubstep in the desert, So I was kind of like, oh, that's cool, but that's not really like what I'm trying to do. That's what a DJ is to me, That's as a band, that's what we were competing against. We're like, hey, check out this song I wrote about this girl, and then like the club next door over is like wah 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 wah. So we were always like, it was kind of almost like the dubstep Burning Man DJs were like the enemy. So for me to go over to Germany and meet this guy, and he just like totally opened my eyes. I'm like, there's like a vinyl DJ culture still happening right now. And I'm like, this is amazing. I'm like, what is this website? Juno.com? Like I did Juno.uk. I'm like, this is amazing. They're making records right now that are reissues of like the coolest shit and re-edits. I'm like, this is, so my mind was just blown. I'm like, this is what I want to do. I want to go back to Reno, and I want to play music that is like this, because no one where I live is doing this. Where I live is just constant desert, minimal tech. And that's fun, but I feel like the demographic I'm in is starved to hear like
something new, something fresh.
Yeah, exactly.
Or not even it just like, yeah, just something
like, different.
Exactly. From the past, bring it back and
totally. Yeah. And I think people have really responded to it, because I have like before the pandemic, I had a monthly DJ gig, and it just kept building momentum. And it started just getting like shoulder to shoulder every night.
There you go.
And no one's asking me to play anything but what I came to play. And I just got a lot of great feedback of people being like, I haven't heard anyone spin music like this. Where did, it was my dream. It was exactly what I told you why I DJ in the first place. People coming up to me with their Shazam, and it's like, it doesn't work. I'm like, well, it's a record, and it's the pitch is too high. You're not going to be able to get it, And so I think I kind of inspired maybe some people. It was like a chain reaction of inspiration coming from, what I experienced over in Europe, and bringing it back.
Yeah. Honestly, being completely honest with you, it takes a lot more. It takes a lot more skill to be able to do stuff like that, because you have to mark. Do you mark your records when you're spinning them?
Like I've seen people put like a little,
red, a red crayon sticky, marker or whatever.
Yeah, or they put like a little sticker on there or something to find the one. I haven't done that, but I've considered it. I actually have like this like giant Excel document of just like every song and what key it's in, and I just will play it, and I'll go over to the piano and I'm like, dun 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 dun. Okay, it's an F sharp, and I'll like type, F sharp 119 BPM, and I just have like this huge document. I stopped doing it because now I'm trying to like keep it all up here, which I'm kind of amazed that it's somehow in there. I'm kind of like, oh, this record, I'm getting better at just like telling what's going to work with what. And I just feel like I find myself having to like tap the BPM a lot less. I'm like hearing it, I'm like, okay, that's 114 or close to it, but yeah, I think learning the old way, the hard way, I guess, has always been the only option for me, because I've always, I don't know, just like my roots of playing guitar, it's, I don't know, I like to drive a stick shift. I like to feel the road. I
respect it.
Yeah. But I mean, that's no I there's no disrespect to the other amazing tools that are out there, like
definitely.
It's kind of funny, like I'm going backwards, and my friends are trying to like my friends are like, Mark, show me how to DJ vinyl. I'm like, dude, show me how to use the CDJ. I don't know, it's pretty funny. But the whole CDJ thing, I'm just getting hip to it. I've got a USB on my keychain. I'm ready to go.
Okay.
I'm ready to go any moment.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes the answers are in the history. They lie in the past, and the fact that you're looking back at the past, even in the music that you create, and it seems like growing up, like you had that big influence of like not even vintage, just like original, and you're so used to, you just love stuff being. It might not even be simpler. It might be a little more complicated, but at least it's original, it's authentic. And I mean, I can hear it in your music, and you're obviously you're saying that you're putting it in your mixing and everything, and it's fresh. It's really refreshing seeing somebody like have the same mentality about how we need to pay more homage to like vintage stuff, older music, and they're doing it now, but in a more modern sense. And I mean, hey man, like you're doing it well. You toured
Thank you.
Europe twice, so you obviously know what you're doing.
Yeah, barely. I'm still learning, but
I mean, yeah, every day is an opportunity to learn something new and to better yourself. So yeah, just keep
yeah,
growing,
totally.
keep learning the ways of the past, because I mean,
Hmm.
every so often there will be a just spark in people wanting to go back to what was being done, and because they're tired of what's being done now. And
Yeah,
honestly, in my opinion, I'm noticing that that's the case a lot. Like you said, a lot of pop music, I mean, it may be difficult to manufacture and to come out with, but it is following the same trend. It is doing the same thing over and over again. So yeah, and
yeah,
that's why recently I became like a huge Tame Impala fan, because like
cool.
their older music. My favorite
Hmm.
album by them is Lonerism.
Oh, that
um
album's sick.
it reminds me, I was reading the Pitchfork review on it, and I was just listening to it, like, because like I said, I listen to a lot of old music.
Hmm.
And I was like, wow, I can hear, like, there was a perfect explanation for the album. It was that you dress up the Beatles from the 60s and you bring them over to like the current, whenever the album came out, and you force
Hmm.
them to sing Tame Impala songs with a higher pitched track. And I was listening to it and I was like, wow, that's so true. Like, just the whole
It's a
garage,
good
it's like the
description.
garage band like aspect of everything being so like homegrown and just inspired by authenticity and like a movement. And it was, what you're doing is literally that. Like, I can hear elements of newer Tame Impala a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And I was listening to what is it, the Drunk on You, or
Oh, Drunk Off Your Love.
Drunk
Yeah.
Off Your Love. Like that, that's a great song. I'm
Oh,
a
thank
big
you.
fan of
Thank
that
you.
one. But yeah,
Appreciate that.
it's like you obviously have it down pat, and if you know what you're doing, you're obviously going to find an audience. Like, I've talked to different people on the show. I've talked to different people in general, and they're like, you just have to find one thing that you're good at and just keep getting better at it, because eventually there will be a group of
Yeah.
people. Or even, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they said that you find one person, and that one person will spread it to another person, another person, because if they're really passionate about something like you are,
Uh-huh.
then they're gonna see the vision that you have in your music, and they're just gonna
Yeah. You're
keep following
totally
you and keep pushing you. So
you're totally right. Yeah. And one thing that I'm like still learning is we're working on a new album right now, and the goal of this new album is to not really cast the net so wide, to try and like appeal to so many people. I think it's kind
mhm,
of like along the lines of what you were saying, where it's it's always better to try to appeal to like a niche audience of
exactly,
people that are going to be super passionate about what you did,
exactly,
rather than cast the net out to like everyone and everyone's like, it's good, you know.
yeah,
So
definitely,
I think musically I'm trying in that direction, where I'm trying to speak to not necessarily everybody, but just the people that are going to love what it is I'm going for.
mhm,
And I think, you know, I've seen artists over the years have much more success if they start niche and then grow
definitely,
from there. A perfect example that I always think of is Leon Bridges.
okay,
Leon Bridges came out with that first album, where it was just like straight up Sam Cooke, like old school soul music,
mhm,
real dirty, like recorded to tape. And then he just came out with like his pop album after that, and he made his audience like even bigger.
yeah,
And you know, that's cool. I think you have to. Rick Rubin said, "Great art divides the audience."
mhm,
So if you
I
come out with
agree,
something that's true, if you come out with something that's truly good, half of the people are going to love it and the other half
exactly,
are going to hate it. And I'm trying to roll the dice a little bit more, as far as not caring so much about the general appeal. Hey, bud. Sorry, my dog's barking.
that's all good.
Not care so much about the general appeal to everybody, but just the select few. I was talking to my friend about this, and he said, hey, we're big fans of that TV show, Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, okay, that's a great
You
show.
know that one? Yeah. And he's
Yeah.
like, that show is like, the people who watch that show love it.
Oh my God, totally.
Yeah, and then there's like a show. Then there's like a show on like ABC, you know, Family Night at 7, like Modern Family, and it's just kind of like it's not that funny. You know, it's just like kind of like sorry to anyone who loves Modern Family, but it's just kind of like this like watered down. How's this going to appeal to everybody thing? And the best food, the best art, the best music, the best films, all aren't going to be loved by everybody. You know,
yeah,
like they appeal to just the people that may appreciate it, I guess. You know, a soccer mom in Texas isn't going to love, you know, maybe my new album or something, but the people I'm trying to appeal to, maybe, hopefully will.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you don't want to cater to people because then you'll eventually lose like your ultimate your beginning, like what you wanted to do in the beginning. Like
Yeah,
you'll get caught up in chasing trends. And
exactly.
I mean, as like as funny as it is, I mean, Gucci Mane made that great has that great quote, don't get, or you can get lost in the sauce, but you can also, or you can don't get lost in the sauce. Like if you're chasing something that you don't have, you're going to get lost, and you're going to lose your vision and what you wanted to do. So yeah, like you said, you may not appeal to everybody. And that quote by Rick Rubin is, I mean, Rick Rubin is obviously a legend. He's been doing, he created, been working since like the mid 80s, and just producing like some of the best tracks ever. Great example of that is the Kanye West album Yeezus. Like he literally right down the middle, people either loved it or hated it. And it took me a while to come around to it. And now I'm like, wow, like I understand, I see what he was trying to do with his album. And he's like, it's hard.
Yeah, I feel like the same way with Frank, like certain artists, like Frank Ocean came out with Blonde, and
I did not like it in the beginning.
Yeah, when it came out, I was like, man, this is like for people who are taking like Vicodin and just like laying around.
Yeah, it's like a real like depressed album.
Exactly. And then I come back to it like 2-3 years later, and I'm like, whoa, this is really good. He's like, that's how you know, like a great artist is always like a couple years ahead of you, a couple steps ahead of you. They know what you're gonna like before you know you like it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And yeah, like when I first heard that album, from Blonde is actually one of my top fives. It was really funny. I'm a huge Frank Ocean fan. Like literally, he's the same exact reason. He's the same exact person. He's has the same mindset like you. He's like, I'm gonna put out what I like. That's why he screwed over. That's why he was getting. That's why he wasn't coming out with music, because he was like, I really like what I'm doing. I'm not trying to have anyone else own it. I'm trying to own it myself.
Totally. It's always better when an artist is selfish.
Oh, definitely.
When they're just like, I'm gonna just make stuff that I like.
Exactly.
Because it's just you just get way better art every time that way.
Totally.
Like I said, whether it's film or whatever, I'd much rather watch a movie where a director has a clear vision of what they are trying to do, and they go out and they get it, and they have a concise vision and result. And it's not for everybody.
No, definitely not. Like one of my favorite movies within the last, I mean, I started to like it mainly because we got to watch it for my English classes. But is The Shining. I wrote like my final paper on it and everything. I thank God I did really well because I love the movie now. But it was really interesting. The first time I ever watched it was a couple years ago. And I was really skeptical because I was like, oh, it's a Stanley Kubrick horror movie. Everyone said it's so scary, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And I watched it and I was like, it's not that scary. But when we were analyzing it in class, I watched it about like 3 years ago. When we watched it this past semester, we were analyzing it, breaking it down, everything. And I was like, he had a vision that he wanted to make the movie horror, but in the sense that it was very grotesque, that it made you feel uneasy, not scared, but like uneasy in a Freudian sense. And like the more I started looking at it, like reviewing the movie, watching it over and over again, different scenes, I was like, wow, he hit his mark. Like, what
he manages to do in that movie is he takes something kind of unrealistic and makes it feel like it could happen to anybody. Like it's just like, like a family could go to take care of a hotel in the middle of nowhere, and the dad could lose his mind and kill everybody. But like there to be supernatural elements going on.
Yeah, the hotel
And
controlling everything.
yeah, like you watch that movie and you just like fully believe that it could happen, like it could happen to
Definitely.
you know.
Yeah,
You'd be
but
like, what?
even when he came out with it, it was not critically acclaimed. He was split down the middle. People were like, "Oh, this isn't like this was." Is like I think it didn't even rate. I don't even think it rated that well when it initially came out. But yeah, when
Yeah, that's
he
great
knew what
art.
yeah, exactly. He knew what he wanted to do. He stuck true to his message, and he was
Mm,
just like, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. Like I'm obviously
yeah.
one of the greatest directors ever.
And yeah, and he had a long filmography of good movies to you know,
Exactly. To
like,
back
hey,
him
look
up.
what I've done. Yeah, look what I've done in the past. Really like Doctor Love. If you like
Oh,
Kubrick,
I have yet to see that one.
you would
I've
love
been
it.
meaning to watch it. I saw
It's
like some stuff about it when I was like in high school, and I was like, dude, this looks like a crazy ass movie. I kind of
yeah,
want to watch
that's another movie where it's something that is seemingly ridiculous and impossible, but at the same time feels like it could happen tomorrow.
it.
Especially with the world as volatile as it is right now, you
Oh,
know. So
totally, I agree.
yeah, I highly recommend that.
I'll definitely check it out. Yeah, I've been meaning to watch it. But yeah, I mean, it's getting to that time, you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? I could
for
chop it
sure.
up with you all day.
Yeah, that
I
was
have,
fun.
yeah, I understand your vision. I see exactly what you're doing, and I have a lot of confidence in you and the Sextones. Again, I
Thank
was
you.
just thinking about it in the middle of the interview, but the Sextones, that's such like a 60s, 70s rock name because
Oh,
it's
I
like
know.
it's playing on like your last name, but it's also like the rock and roll, sex, drugs, rock and roll type vibe. So I was like, hey,
Yeah,
that's clever as hell.
yeah. We're happy with it. It's gonna really fit in well with our new album because it's kind of like even more of a throwback to like some of those doo-woppy bands that all had names like that, like the Soft Tones and the, you know,
Yeah,
there's so
definitely.
many bands with goofy names like that. So I think it's gonna play well with the sound of the new album.
Perfect, man. I'm totally
Yeah,
excited. I know the fans are excited. I'm hoping we can get like what this interview is. We're trying to get you out and expand your audience. Maybe one person sees this and they're like, "Wow, I love music the way that Mark loves
yeah.
it. I'm gonna start listening to his stuff." And that's all we're trying to do.
Cool.
But I
Well,
have
thank you for reaching out to me.
yeah, of course, man.
Yeah,
Anytime, anytime.
yeah.
I have one final question. It's
Okay.
kind of like a two-part question. So what is one piece of advice you would tell either a producer or like a starting out a songwriter, whatever it may be? Like, what is one piece of advice you would tell them? And is there anybody you're listening to right now or working with right now that you want to give a platform to? You could just go ahead and shout them out.
Okay, one piece of advice to a producer, a young producer, is there's no shortcuts. Whether you're learning to make the next banger on Ableton or you're learning guitar, you're not going to be Rick Rubin or Jimi Hendrix in a week. You have to write some bad songs. You have to struggle for a while, and you have to be willing to do that. And if you're not willing to be in it for the long haul and crash and burn a couple times simply because you love it so much that you don't mind crashing and burning, then then maybe look into something else, because it's definitely about passion. That's what keeps you in the studio until 3 a.m. You know, you're not doing it because you're thinking about dollar signs. You're doing it because you genuinely love it. And you got to be, at the beginning, you have to be someone that says yes a lot. You got to say yes to everything, and then as your career grows, learn how to say no to the right things and find the best situation. And then the second part of the question, what was it again?
No worries. If there's anyone you're listening to right now or working with that you feel they need
Oh,
like a shout out, go ahead
yeah.
and just drop the names.
Yeah, I'll give a shout out to all the dudes that I play music with. I play music with my longtime friend and songwriting partner, Alex Korostinsky, is a badass bass player, and him and I have another project called What It Do, that's about to come out with some new music very soon that I'm super excited about. So keep your ears and eyes peeled for that. And then Dan Weiss, who I've grown up playing music with these guys for the last 12, 13, 14 years. he is also playing in another band called Delvon Lamar Organ Trio, and it's really cool. Like these organ trio throwback soul, amazing music.
Okay.
And then the three of us are actually going this weekend to. I keep talking about our new album. We're going to San Rafael to go to the studio to work with a great artist out of the Bay Area named Kelly Finnegan, and he has a record out on Coal Mine Records, and he is an incredible producer, singer, songwriter. So I highly recommend you check out his music and his new album. It's just pure soul. It's awesome.
Perfect. Again, man, thank you for coming on. Thank
Yeah.
you guys for watching. We want to make sure you follow Mark on Instagram. That is at Mark Steven Sexton, all one. Follow the Sextones as well. That is at the Sextones. Don't forget to like and subscribe for the next video. Turn on the notifications, and we look forward to seeing you back here again. Peace out, guys.
Thanks, Jacob. Thanks On the Rise.
Of course, anytime.